Okay, so since we have so many new people here, we're going to definitely go over what are essential oils. So, does anybody have any ideas? Want to share? So, they're aromatic compounds found in plants, trees, roots, and flowers. That way, just the same way that nature uses the oils to protect themselves, we can use them for ourselves, and our bodies know what to do with them. They're a great companion wherever we travel. They assist us to be prepared and give us support for even more wellness in all aspects of our lives.
And I'm going to talk just a little bit about how we use the essential oils, and then I'll go over the gardening, and then Jaime is our culinarian this evening, so she works as a professional chef as well. So she's going to teach the food part of it. So as far as the how to use essential oils goes, there's 3 ways that we can use the essential oils. We can use them aromatically, and in this case, when we're talking about the garden, we can use them in our garden to get rid of pests that we don't want there. We can also use them aromatically on our tables while we're eating, and aromatically when we use them, it's the compounds from the oils that have evaporated that are really helpful to us. According to the Modern Essentials book, the aromatic usage of the oils is particularly helpful with things like memory, hormone balance, mood, and then also, of course, the respiratory system, because that's how it's getting into our bodies. We can also use them internally for immune support, cleaning, cooking, and so when you use them internally, they can either be taken just putting drops on your tongue, you can put them in capsules, you can eat them in food, counts as taking them internally as well. So quite a bit of ways to use them internally. And then also topically, which is one of the main ways that a lot of people use oils. You can use them topically for soothing muscles, helping support your skin, which is the largest organ of the body, so we all know it needs a lot of help, especially in Colorado. So those are the 3 ways that you can use essential oils. So, as we go to talk about gardens, we're going to talk about kind of where to start with your garden. First thing that we need to do is prepare the soil, and most all of this is in your handouts, so I apologize if I go pretty quickly. I do think that most of you wanted more of the cooking than the gardening part, so I'm just going to move on through. So as far as fertilizing goes, there's a ton of different information out there about how to compost things. One of the ways that I'm thinking of starting, just because I'm realizing how many things that we have that could be composted, are just a bin. And you can use a bin, and like it says, you can put brown paper products or kitchen scraps in there, just no meat, and just let it go. When I looked up the 3 things that could make compost not work, the top one was letting it dry out. It needs the moisture to grow that good bacteria to break down the stuff in the soil. The other one was not letting it get enough air. And, I think the 3rd one was not keeping it covered. And I think that was just more of a preference. If you don't keep it covered, you're likely to have a lot of bees and wasps and other things that love the sugars as our food breaks down. So, other natural fertilizing solutions include Epsom salt solutions, common plant food, green tea. I know I have a new fantastic roommate that is teaching me so much, and she takes the coffee every morning out to my garden, and I'm like, I should have thought of this, and the eggshells and things like that. So a lot of ways to fertilize your garden. Green tea, gelatin, I'm sure there's a bunch more that I'm not as aware of. As far as garden companions with the oils, some of the oils are very specifically related to some of the plants, and so that's why we've listed them. This is from the Living magazine, the spring 2015, which is also archived on the doTERRA website. So the article in here has a lot of the information about specific plants and how the oils relate to them. So that information can be found there. It's also listed in the resources section on the last page of your handout. So I'm not going to go through each one of them. I know for me, peppermint has been the most used in my garden. I just have a little glass spray bottle, and I give it to my boys who are 2 and 6, and I'm like, go spray the garden. When the tomato plants start to get big and I see the little white, aphids or bugs on them, I'm like, hey, can you go do this? And then I think it was last year we had a hailstorm, and that was when I started using some basil at the base of my tomato plants to really kind of give their structure some more vigor and help them just be better because they've kind of gotten beaten and broken in the storm. So a lot of people also add that to their watering can. But just as just as we know, the oils can sometimes break down plastics. So I have a plastic watering can. I've kind of been hesitant to add my oils to the watering can. Other ones that I've used, yeah, pretty much just the basil and the peppermint for me. I'm excited to try a couple this year. We're gonna do potatoes for the first time in a bale of hay. I just learned about this. So I'm gonna spray the potatoes with basil first before I stick them in there, and then you just water it all summer and they grow in there. And I leave it in the sun, and so apparently it's a big thing. So I've never done it.
Does bees still come when you use the oils with the bees still wanna be around your plants?
Yes, most of the oils, it depends on the oil. So that's a really good question, especially with where we're at environmentally in terms of bees and wanting to welcome them as opposed to deter them. Some of the oils are specifically deterrent to bees, and it does list that in the doTERRA blog.
Okay.
So in that case, I think that it's more that the oil can't be selected specifically for wasps, and it's more for any sort of flying insect or like the Hymenoptera species and from there down that covers bees and wasps and things like that.
Okay.
Does that answer your question?
I was just wondering, I sprayed peppermint on spiders and ants,
Mhm.
and I didn't know where that fits with the bees.
I haven't noticed anything with bees, just for my personal usage. I feel like the peppermint doesn't do a whole lot to affect the bees and wasps.
Okay, I know my peppermint plant the bees love.
Yeah.
So I didn't know.
Yeah, I don't think I've noticed a difference for bees
Okay.
and wasps with the
Okay,
peppermint
great.
for me. But yeah, the website with the doTERRA blog might be a great resource to find out more information
Okay.
on that one. So, and then of course after we garden, which thankfully you guys can't tell because it's kind of dark in here now. I did a little today. I have some after sun needs, so you can protect your skin. The gardener's hand soap is on here. Also lavender if you do get a little too much sun. So that's kind of the garden companions part. As far as fungicides and pesticides go, this is kind of more of a broad topic. I just wanted to touch on it briefly. It doesn't pertain directly to the oils, but there's a lot of natural solutions out there as far as fungicides and herbicides go. Most of these can be purchased at your local greenhouse, at a big box store, places like that. You can get most of these things. So I'm not gonna go too deep into these right now. Also with weed control, anything, I shouldn't say anything, always and never doesn't ever work out well for me. Most of the things that say natural or organic on them or safe for children and pets are either 100% corn gluten or that is by far the main ingredient. So that's one of the safest things out there. If you go to a major box website and type in corn gluten, it's going to come up with those things that say weed control, natural, safe for pets, things like that. So corn gluten's a great one. And it also helps deliver nitrogen and food to the plants as well. And then vinegar is also a very effective natural herbicide. The one thing I will say when I used this last year trying to get the weeds out of my rocks, it also kills the grass. So if you have a 2-year-old and a 6-year-old spraying the stuff, you might expect patches of grass everywhere. So another part I read was that adding Epsom salt and Dawn dish soap to the vinegar was very effective. So depending on how hardy the weeds are, you might need to add a little more. So that's the part for weed control. And then as far as pest control goes, again, this is listed very specifically in the doTERRA blog. In addition, most of these oils are found in the Terra Shield. And so the Terra Shield is another one that I've loved to use in my garden, especially when I'm not sure what the bug is. It might be like a tiny little caterpillar. It might be ants. It might be weird things that look like wasps flying out of the wood in my raised bed. And so in that case, a lot of times what I'll do is just add the Terra Shield, maybe 5 or 10 drops to probably 50 milliliters of water. Just I fill the spray bottle, I add the drops, I shake it up, and I kind of spray them down. And so that is what I would call my broad spectrum pest control, the Terra Shield. The first ingredient in the Terra Shield is lemon eucalyptus, which is different from adding just lemon and eucalyptus together. It's a kind of a different species of the plant. It also has citronella, the lemongrass, catnip, amaryllis bark, or amorous bark, excuse me, not amaryllis, totally different things. Sandalwood, wild orange, white fir, and a whole host of others. So that's a really good, just kind of broad one. And it's really pretty cost effective as well. And now we are on to one of my favorite people. The cooking section.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, how amazing is Sarah? Holy cow. So this is,
You want the lights up?
yeah. This is going to combine both of my huge passions. So I love the culinary arts, I love creating new flavors, and I love the creativity of it. And who here doesn't love essential oils? Because you're kind of in the wrong place if you don't. But the essential oils have really changed my entire family's life. So now, it's hard to see, but we're going to be making a basic sparkling limeade. That is found on the doTERRA blog, and it's also found in the Modern Essentials Living book. Let's see, we have a fruit salad with lemon, honey, thyme, vinaigrette. It's my go-to fruit salad for potlucks. And tonight we're just going to be incorporating essential oils. A ricotta dill hors d'oeuvre. So this one came out of the Sensational ebook. So if you don't have the Sensational set, it's a must-have. I believe it's still offered on the back office. And then get with whoever invited you, and then they can get you that link for the ebook. So you definitely want to have that. There's some delicious recipes in there. And then we're going to talk about just different ways that you can incorporate essential oils in your daily lives. So let's get started.
All right.
All right.
And the
I'm gonna
next
turn
slide
that
is
off.
just kind of the,
Oh.
we probably should have done that. Do you want to do that afterwards? Or do you want to do it now? Do you want to turn off the lights and you can go through it real quick?
No, because I can't read it.
Oh, okay.
So one of the last slides that's on your handout is going to be how much oil to use in place of it. This information I got out of the Living book. If you want to take a photograph of it, feel free, however you want that to work out for you so you have a better copy.
Yeah, the main thing that I learned about this part was one time I was making spaghetti and realized I didn't have any oregano. And I thought, oh, this is perfect. I'm going to just start with a drop of oregano.
Oh, too much.
And I learned that a lot of times, and it talks about it in this image, and this image can also be found online, but it's in the Modern Living. A lot of times, so in that case, even though I was making like 4 quarts of spaghetti, if I had dipped a toothpick and swirled the toothpick in the sauce, it would have been perfect. So oils can be fantastic replacements for herbs, citrus oils, things like that are great. They taste delicious. Some take more than others. I love like a peppermint wild orange chocolate dipped pretzel, especially in like the winter time. And so that I can usually add more peppermint than I would have expected, like 2 or 3 drops. Still not like, oh, let's have some peppermint. Certainly not like you would add something like peppermint extract. So there are some great guidelines that I would recommend perusing, unless you already have a sense about these things that I don't.
So one of the biggest things I do when I cook is I smell. So I smell the different oils, or I smell the herbs. I smell whatever ingredient I'm using. And then if it excites me, or if I'm attracted to it, then that's definitely something that I want to be using. And so that's kind of how we did this. Some of them are a little different, so your palate might be like, huh, this is interesting. So be open, and then there's some all-time faves that you're just going to fall in love with. Can we turn that off?
Oh, this thing?
Yes. Please and thank you. So what I did here, and we just prepped the bases of it last night, so then we can show you literally how.
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
Maybe we just do the class part. Pause for technical difficulties.
Okay, we can move this forward maybe.
So yeah, Jaime came over last night and she did all the cutting and.
Oh yeah, that'd be great.
Kim, did you do fresh dill or dill oil?
This was freeze dried, and thank you for reminding me. So, I wanted to put all the oils in so you guys could literally see how quick and easy it is. The prep overall took about an hour, hour and a half. And yeah, so this one calls for lemon and dill. So again, it comes out of your sensational. I don't remember how many drops. Do you?
3 to 4.
3? Okay, so dill is pretty strong. So I'm gonna actually start with 2. And then the lemon, does it say 3 and 4 as well? Okay. So lemon, all the citrus oils are really forgiving. So I usually go on the higher end for the citrus oils. All right. And then we just stir that up. And voila, it's ready to plate up. So we're just gonna do the ricotta.
And we're gonna have all this for you guys to grab and assemble a little bite for yourselves, if you choose to.
And then
So we're doing a little basil.
yeah, a little basil. And then a rogue tomato. Okay. And then there's that. I don't know how good of a picture that is. Sure.
Right.
So
Of course, she's a chef, so it looks delicious too.
Pretty.
It's so pretty.
So you can choose any cracker. We just took kind of a gluten-free reference to make sure that it needs.
I just love using real food because it just makes it look better. You don't have to use any kind of fluff. It's just perfect the way it is.
I'm gonna take this stuff back.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. Okay. The next one is, Sarah and I both looked everywhere for gluten-free shortbread. Could not find it, so we substitute with the gluten-free snickerdoodle. So, we'll see. So if anybody has any suggestions of where to find that, let me know.
She does.
Okay.
Oh,
She does mostly in natural grocers.
Okay. Well, we went to Sprouts and
Whole Foods,
Trader Joe's, yeah. Okay, so this is the cream cheese mixture. So I just whipped it with a little bit of powdered sugar, cream cheese, and this one we are going to add rosemary and grapefruit essential oils. And again, all the herby type oils, you want to go on the lower end of the spectrum, especially oils like cilantro, oregano. Rosemary and basil are kind of in between, at least for me.
Is that the cream cheese?
Yes.
Signature?
Mm-hmm. So I am going to start with 2 drops of the rosemary. We found last night that it needed to be pretty bold to stand up to that snickerdoodle. And then we'll go 5 drops of the grapefruit. And it's so fun because I thought the fruit of the grapefruit would really pull through. It is nothing compared to that essential oil that comes from the rind when it's cold pressed. So it's awesome. So, again, we cut the snickerdoodles in half. And that's not spreading.
Oh, it's cold, huh?
That's good.
It's much colder than when we whipped it last night.
It's all good.
So you might bring your cream cheese to room temperature.
Okay. we got arugula, baby arugula. And similar presentation. So you just put the arugula on there. Dig out some grapefruit. And then voila. So you can pass that on. Yes. Okay. And then all right, so then we just cut up fruit. Super exciting, right? Like I said, this is a kind of a standby for me to make. There it is. So I took thyme out of Sarah's garden last night. Rated it.
Yes, I planted all my things, even though it's not Mother's Day, as you can probably tell by my face now. So if it snows between now and then, I take full responsibility, but it's not going to, so.
So we juiced what? Well, her boys juiced 6 lemons. And then I begged for some of Mary's husband's honey.
Yay. Which recipe are you on now?
I don't know if this one's on there. It's like 4 ingredients. And I don't measure. Yes, lemon juice. And just take some of this honey. And I just eyeball it, a couple tablespoons maybe, however sweet you like. Ooh. Make a mess. Okay. And then I get that worked in. Oh, thank you. Oh, we're gonna need that.
Oh,
Yeah. Okay.
do you want me to whisk while you?
Yeah. Thank you. Okay, we're gonna add in some olive oil. And it doesn't have to be completely emulsified, just however you like it.
You can put it in a blender too, or a food processor, or whatever.
Yeah, whatever's handy. If you have an immersion stick blender, it's always handy. And then the thyme. Oh, I can go. Okay. I just pick the leaves off. Okay.
Probably put this on a plate. Should have brought my baby wipes in.
And then what's next? Oh, oil, strawberries, oils. So we've got lemon and thyme. So has anyone ever put thyme on, like topically? It's kind of a hot oil. So usually how I remind myself is after I put it in my son's diffuser for respiratory support, and then I go to scratch my face, and I'm like, ooh, that's kind of hot.
Thyme oil.
Thyme. So, especially with the thyme, I'm just going to do 1 drop. Lemon, I'll do 2 or 3. We have lemon juice in there, but again, that's going to really bump up those flavors. And then okay. And then we're just gonna, we can either just drizzle over. Okay, is that good?
Do you want me to try and drizzle out of here?
Yeah, I can.
Or are you gonna do it?
So then once it's emulsified, you just pour that over. You have the beautiful sprigs from the thyme leaves. And then I like to take my strawberries and put them on last and just garnish them on top. So. Nice and fresh. Ta-da!
Right. And like we said, all of this deliciousness will be back here for you guys to
Yes.
taste in just a few minutes. So.
Yes. We're gonna,
Assemble.
so the next one, I just made a concentrate with lime juice and sugar. It's equal parts. You simmer that down and then you cool it. And then you get beautiful concoction like this. You're gonna add in your lime oil. Again, like probably 3 or 4 drops. And then we'll just mix that in. We weren't sure how many people were going to be coming, but we brought these adorable cups for everyone to try, and then you can go back for some more. We like to use LaCroix, so probably a teaspoon.
You need to look, please, Grandma.
Yeah.
And you can use the plain. I just happen.
If you
to
have a
find the
soda
lime.
stream, you can always use the soda stream to make your own carbonated water. I found,
Cheers.
cheers. I found an alcoholic version of LaCroix. It's called White Claw or Truly or any of those. 5 grams of sugar, so you can add your own sugar to it, make it an alcoholic version, so more adult version. So yeah, so everyday uses. I like to put apples in a mason jar, water and On Guard, so just a drop. And this small of one, probably just a toothpick. And then that way boosts your immune system and I don't want to get honey all over your phone.
It's all right, I can help you.
Okay. So boost your immune system and it tastes delicious. And then you know that commercial where they sit with another couple that have the fruit cups and they're like, oh, you're drainers. So you don't have to be a drainer. You can just drink your own water. The other thing that I like to do, have you seen that on Facebook where you can make your overnight refrigerated oatmeal?
Yeah.
So I thought that this would be way fun to do with oils. And then we're going to raffle this one off. So equal parts of oats. And I have vanilla unsweetened almond milk.
Jamie, we had a great question about instant oats, quick oats. I personally sometimes even use steel cut. They're super chewy, but what do you?
So if you use quick oats, you can have overnight oatmeal in about 30 minutes. If you do overnight, you'll want to use the regular oats. So. All right, and then you can sweeten it with honey if you like. And then some craisins or raisins, whatever you prefer.
What was the liquid you put in there, Jamie?
Vanilla almond milk, unsweetened. And then,
And you can pretty much use any liquid. And I think, is the general rule of thumb for liquid and oats like
equal parts.
equal parts? Okay.
Yeah. And then just, I'm hesitant to do this, but you're gonna get 1 drop in here.
Nice job.
Cinnamon, I would probably do a toothpick worth for this small amount. So you might want to add to this, but you're gonna take that home, enjoy it in the morning, sweeten it up however you like. So, all right,
Salsa.
yes, salsa.
Jamie, put this in my cooler.
That'd be great. So not everybody has time to make anything for potluck, right? So we decided to get the store-bought salsa, whatever brand you like, and then just divide it out. And we're going to do lime in one, cilantro in another, and cumin in the last one. And I like to use cumin in my guacamole too. So I usually use that. And then cilantro in my black beans and cumin together. So that's a good way to use it. Oops.
Did you do about 1 drop of each of the herbs and then a couple of the lime?
Cumin I did 2 drops because I love cumin. Cilantro I did 1 drop and lime I did 3. So there you have it. Any questions? Do you feel inspired to go cook? Try some new flavors?